Joining us. So I'm here with my mum reading my book, Thriving at Nature's Pace. Please, it's about how we can thrive in the climate crisis, and it's a very different approach. So it doesn't talk about the usual stuff in that way. And my mum is 90. We were just talking about her 91st birthday about to come up, what we might do for that. So that will be in a few weeks, and we'll tell you when it comes. So you'll be staying with us and joining us. I'm going to carry on from where we are. We've been talking about acceptance and the steps to acceptance and what we can do. And we can talk about kind of where money can be and what people can do about the money we spend and how the money we spend is the greatest power that we have. So all of us together around the world, ourselves in our communities and in our cities and around the world, spend over tens of trillions of dollars, over $50 trillion a year. And that's what makes the world goes round, as they say. So all of that is in our control. So really it's about spending our money with the people we think are making the world better. That's a good way of thinking about it. But anyway, we're going to go on about the next part. I'm going to start reading now to finish this section probably, maybe. Okay. So this is particularly relevant as there is a great wealth transfer coming. This is the money in the hands of the baby boomer generation that is going to be gifted. So the baby boomer generation up there, the people who are sort of between 60 and 80 today. This is going to be inherited or in whatever form transferred to their children and grandchildren. This is an estimated 60 to 80 trillion dollars of wealth that's going to be in the hands of the young people for the first time in history. How they choose to invest it and who they choose to spend it with will do more to determine the outcomes of their own futures than any other actions they may do. Think about that. However, the idea of accepting that things can radically change is still frightening. History has taught people to fear the masses. The idea of putting power in the hands of people is accompanied by apocryphal tales of how the masses are uneducated and cannot be trusted. These tales forget that everybody and their families and their neighbors are all part of the masses. The issue boils down to social capital. Social capital simply is the knowledge that if someone trips, someone will come to help. And the fear of the masses is the fear that the wrong person will come to help. If someone is good enough to come to help, then that should be enough to qualify that person as the right person to come to help. The fear of accepting that things can change radically is also a fear that science and technology may have failed. Science and technology have given modern humans a sense of power over nature. For centuries, modern education has stopped teaching students to learn lessons from nature. Instead, it has dissected nature in the name of science to steal its secrets. Hi for everybody coming. We're reading my book, Thriving at Nature's Pace. Technology can then copies and clones them to create progress. Modern education is teaching dominion over nature instead. The initial reaction of horror at the news of the first mammalian clone, Dolly the sheep, I remember that, I saw it in the newspaper, I was about a teenager, have turned into a belief that humans do control the very makeup of life. Modern society now believes all hurdles and obstacles will be overcome by science and technology. Climate change can be fixed as simply as plugging in a different battery. This thinking is a hurdle to accepting radical change. So thank you for all the people coming. So acceptance asks the question that no one dares to ask. Is nature the boss? Instead of addressing this, the technology billionaire Bill Gates refuted the question succinctly during New York Climate Week in 2023. Are we science people or are we idiots? This was said to make the point that science people really are the ones in charge. Modern science people believe that rational science will always provide the path forward. If others do not follow, then they are idiots. This thinking underlies much of the theories of change. The point of these theories is that the masses can be manipulated. They only need the smart people to apply a little pressure here, and society will shift there. Then the smart people decide, government implement, and everyone else follows and benefits. This creates a reductionist view of today's global problems with no room for nature to have a say. They want people to believe that if they trust the magic wand of science and technology, everything will be okay. It's only fair to admit that this approach has genuinely worked. For centuries, it has provided benefits after benefits. That is why it's so difficult to abandon. However, a person who has often been right does not become a person who will always be right. But abandoning it does feel like leaving everything to chance. This is especially so when people fear that others will make what they fear will be the wrong choice. It is hard to accept that abandoning control can ever be the right thing to do. This is where acceptance is misunderstood. Acceptance is not about abandoning control. It's about recognizing that the existing situation is no longer working. Acceptance allows people to let go. This opens up room for things that are yet unknown. Without such acceptance, fear of the unknown will keep people trapped. Acceptance means recognizing that climate change is now in an active phase, and it is happening at a pace that has not happened before. Or the textbooks and playbooks of what to do were written before climate change. They address a world that no longer exists. Acceptance embraces the fact that individuals do make sensible choices. What matters is that they can have genuine choice. Climate change is a fact, it simply is, and it is past the point of no return. The climate agenda needs to let go of trying to look after everyone and instead embrace allowing people to look after themselves. This means letting go of the belief that out of 8 billion people, only those who have attended top universities and sat in boardrooms have good ideas, or that only those who have attended leadership seminars can lead. Acceptance is accepting that the world has a place for each individual, and given the chance, ideas will come together to resolve the challenges people collectively face. They can do this because they individually know best what they need. Many of those ideas will be helpful to others also. Given the chance, innovations will come about. It makes no sense that the world should come out of climate change looking exactly the same as it does now. It makes no sense that only changes needed are to replace dirty energy with clean energy. It makes no sense that economics and governance should come out of climate change unscathed. If climate change really is the existential threat that it's said to be, then like it or not, given it's already here and past the point of no return, everything will change. So I think we can pause there. Oh no, we just got a little bit, so let's finish that chapter on. It therefore makes more sense that innovations to take the world to its future should emerge from the needs of the people at the coalface of climate change itself. The world has been in a phony war with climate change. For decades, it has been about how to make it possible to leapfrog over climate change as if it never happened. Now the phony war is over. Incidents of damage are worsening on every continent every year. There is no more chance of leapfrogging over it. In this world, there is no time to build up enough renewable energy to replace oil and gas and coal. There's not even enough time to adapt. It is a case of asking what it means to thrive with climate change. That will prompt people to address what they genuinely need. It will lead people to shape their own roadmap for oil and gas and coal. Addressing what this means to thrive with climate change means embracing a new relationship with nature. Nature is abundant because it is complex and diverse. Nature is tough and robust for the same reason. Life emerges out of nature's complexity and diversity, and this is changing. That's how economics needs to emerge out of the complexity and diversity of 8 billion people. Accepting radical change means accepting that it is people and not governments who hold the key to resolving climate change. That's it for today. That's the end of chapter 2. We're going to go on to chapter 3 tomorrow, I think, hopefully, and it's embracing the complexity. So embracing the complexity, that's our next chapter there. That's when we will start. So Mum, any thoughts? Say hi to anyone listening.
Don't know how to solve the problem.
Don't know how to solve the problem. I think that's right. I think we don't need to know how to solve the problem. We just need to accept that we can change. So if we keep thinking of how we solve the problem, And most of the time we're thinking about how we change someone else. But actually, the change comes when we ourselves allow ourselves to change.
No, it depends on the scientist.
Will it depend on the scientist? Partly, but mostly no, because the problem is not about the science. The problem is about whether we think we can live better with nature. And that's not the science. So back to this thing about our greatest power is the money we spend. That doesn't depend on the science. And even greater than that power is the choice not to spend money when we don't need to. We're constantly being pushed to spend money because that keeps the economy ticking over. And we fear we don't, then things will stop. But it won't. And so the greatest choice is our own choice of whether we spend money and then who we spend it with. And that's not the science.
Then if you don't spend money, the society will be retreating.
Society will change, and
Yeah?
some part of it will retreat. But whether we spend money or not, climate change is going to make society retreat. So if you are in an area like in Jamaica where it was hit by all the storms, or in Australia which is being burnt everywhere at the moment, then you're going to find that your society is going to have to retreat.
Yeah.
So climate change is much stronger, and there's not much you can do about that. Hi. So this is my mom, Eleanor. A few people made some comments along, so just saying that. So we've been reading my book, Thriving at Nature's Pace, and it's about how we can thrive in the climate crisis. And I'm reading it to my mum because she's 90, about to be 91, and she can't see well enough to read. So she said, "What did you write a book about?" And we thought, okay, let's do that. So we just want to share that with you. Thank you. Thriving at Nature's Place. Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
We'll do this every morning around this time, maybe a little bit earlier, about 8:30 UK time to about 9 o'clock. Depends on how things go. Bye-bye.
Bye.